Wildcats, I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, we got a lot to get to this show, so without any further ado, let's get started here on Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Happy Thursday to everybody out there. All right, now we're going to talk some Arizona basketball. We're going to talk some Arizona basketball recruiting news. You name it, we got it on this show right here. But first, we've got to talk about Carter Bryant. Arizona priority recruit Carter Bryant. Carter Bryant. He is going to announce his collegiate decision here in next Wednesday. Now, just to rehash, Carter Bryant is the epitome of a five-star recruit, a top five recruit going nationally, and he would be the first mega recruit of the Tommy Lloyd era. And big thing about him is that he can play the wing. And not only can he play the wing, he can play pretty much everywhere. He's got a Jason Tatum type feel to his game. Probably a one and done, but a big time prospect that Arizona expects to land. Now, again, it's Arizona and Louisville. And you never count your chickens until they're hatched, but this would be a very good get for Arizona. Now, the one thing about him is that's going to be interesting is he's also, obviously, he's teammates with Jamari Phillips on the AAU team, or AAU squad. And both these guys, I think, would fit in very, very nicely at Arizona, even if it's just for 1 year for Carter Bryant. But again, this is a guy that Tommy Lloyd has to get. We've talked about it before. Tommy Lloyd is very, very big on offering a very limited amount of players. And by offering a very limited amount of players, I mean next to nobody, and just about anybody that he thinks he can land. That's who he's going to be offering. And if there isn't anybody else, then you know what? That's what he's just going to do. Now, I think we're kind of at the stage with Carter Bryant where, you feel pretty good if you're Arizona. I think that's fairly safe to say. You feel pretty good about it. But I think the one thing though is that you need this. You need this to happen again. Lloyd's missed out on some guys that I think that he thought he was going to get over the years. You need this one to be able to happen. You need to be able to get Carter Bryant. You've got to get Carter Bryant, and I think Arizona's going to get him. So if you get him, you get Ryan Nembhard, maybe it starts, pacifying some of the skeptics out there. But again, like I said, it's just an unusual recruiting strategy that I think we're all trying to follow as time goes on. And again, just somewhat unusual. You don't really see this very often, but it's also, we're also kind of in uncharted waters right here. Now, when it comes to Arizona, I do think that when it comes to the Cats, I do think that he would. The next step has to be that transfer portal. And again, obviously, you want to get Ryan Nembhard, but I think with the transfer portal, you've got to be able to prioritize that. You got to be able to get those kind of kids because, again, these are the type of guys that Arizona should be able to get. Big time players who are already proven. Again, at your Arizona, your Tommy Lloyd, you've got a lot to be able to sell. Look at Arkansas. They basically lost their whole roster and they brought it back with great players as well. That's what you got to be able to try to do if you're the University of Arizona, in my opinion. Okay, now let's Built Bar. Here's the deal. When you see the strongest people out there, you probably immediately think to yourself, how did they get so strong? Don't ask a question you already know the answer to. It's probably Built Bar. Because, again, how many times do people go to the gym and they're like, I don't want to go to the gym. Gym sucks. And then they're like, and then I got to eat something terrible after that. Built Bar to the rescue. Built Bar says, enough of that. You are going to enjoy your workout routine, and you're going to enjoy your workout routine. And a big reason why is Built Bar. So again, check it out. Built Bar. There's a reason that it's taken off in the manner in which it has. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with you. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Now, there's some other players that have heard from Arizona that are in the transfer portal as well. You got a Raekwon Battle, pretty good player right there, out of Montana State, averaged 17 a game. Pretty good guy. A guy that I would love to see Arizona get in on, though, is Trey White. I am a big fan of Trey White. I think Trey White is the epitome of the kind of guy that Arizona should be recruiting. USC transfer, about 6'6", long, wiry, athletic wing. Who can defend, who can finish, can do a lot of different things out there. Arizona didn't have a lot of guys like that this past season. And not only did Arizona not have a lot of guys like that this past season, they were pretty much nowhere to be found. That would be a great addition. If you had again, this probably won't happen, but again, it's fun to talk about. If you had a starting backcourt of Kylan Boswell, Ryan Nembhard, and why am I drawing a total blank here? Trey White along with Pelle Larsson, you could do a lot worse than that right there. That is a team that I believe that you could, that is a championship perimeter right there. Now, it's a championship perimeter, but it's also, I think up front, you've got guys who, you got to continue to solidify that. But I think if you solidify that, you're looking again, saying that's a team that could be a top 2 seed. And not only could that be a top 2 seed, that's a team that I think that you can win a lot of games with right there. So again, I'm enthused by where Arizona is right now, but again, you still got to be able to see it happen, and that's kind of the thing that we've been talking about from day one. You got to be able to see it happen. You got to be able, if you're going to go with this kind of a strategy, which Arizona is, which is fine, but if you are going to go with this kind of strategy, then you got to be able to get the kids that you're prioritizing right there. Because again, I think we took Sean Miller, and in a weird way, Sean Miller was the recruiter that you loved because he was going to go after a bunch of 5-star kids, and he was probably going to end up with 2 or 3 of them. But you knew who he was recruiting. You had a good idea. Tommy Lloyd is far more secretive when it comes to that. But the other thing about Tommy Lloyd, the Tommy gun, the other thing about him, though, is that he's also smart in who he's offering. He's not just going to offer anybody right there, as we've talked about. But again, it's definitely a departure from what we're used to. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with you. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats. I'm your host, Mike Luke. All right, like I said, I get a lot of people that ask me about, what do you think about Tommy Lloyd, or what do you think about this recruiting strategy? I'm inclined not to love it, but at the end of the day, Tommy Lloyd is the winningest coach in college basketball in his first 2 years. That kind of speaks for itself. You're going to always give that type of guy the benefit of the doubt, as we all should right there. So, but again, it's got to work out. If it doesn't work out, then we're going to sit here and we're going to say that, what the heck were you really doing out there? But that's kind of the way it is with Lloyd. All right, again, a little bit of a shorter pod today, but tomorrow we will be back with you full-fledged. We're going to be talking football and we're going to be talking basketball. But again, I expect good news for Carter Bryant and Ryan Nembhard. Whenever he does get around to announcing, I expect good news from him as well. So again, Lloyd doing it in a circuitous route, but a route that nonetheless, if you're an Arizona fan, you're more than okay with taking. So on that note, I'm going to sign off right here, but we will be back with you tomorrow. Again, bright and early. Again, as always, appreciate everybody out here. And again, back the A. Arizona basketball is in good shape. Again, Tommy Lloyd knows what he's doing. You just got to be able to deliver right here, Tommy. And we're going to all be watching. But again, back the A. Talk with you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Thursday. You've been listening to Locked On Wildcats.